degree of manifestation is varying. So the spiritual development and the degree of manifestation is inversely proportional. Means a highly evolved person can get triggered with the least trigger. He can sit quietly thinking of that experience, he is elevated. Some people have to travel all the way there to get that feeling. But the feeling is the same, sir. We are not saying you shouldn't do it, but one finds the necessity to do that to have that feeling. Another person sits quietly, he takes a walk down the road and gets to the temple, has the same elevated feeling. Which is better? Which is better? Isn't it a blessing? Not that you shouldn't go there, but you can have that same thing here. That fulfillment, that achievement. You know, Muhammad said the same thing to people who were going on a camel's back to Mecca those years. He said, what you are seeking, they were going to Mecca, and he said, what you are seeking is closer than the neck of your camel. They were going on a camel's back to see God, going through that treacherous journey in that hot desert, no track, it's a trackless path. So they're finding a path, a track to go to Mecca, and Muhammad said, what you are seeking is closer than the neck of your camel. What does it mean? God is right within you, man. Where are you going to search it? A student of mine was telling this. She went on a Mount Kailash trip for a 2-week trip. And there's a, I mean, anyone of you gone on the trip? You're gone. So you would know what it is to, it's a spiritual pilgrimage, and I've never done that. I would be more than happy to do that anytime. Somebody went there, and that person was sharing. There was on a particular day, she was actually, most of the time she was on her own, and it was a long trek, arduous trek, very demanding. And as she was walking and as she was struggling and coping, she said, what am I doing here? Where am I going? Am I going to see God there? Aren't we told God is right within me? She says this feeling came and hit her very hard. Not that you shouldn't do that, believe me, please don't get me wrong, but it can be done. So if you are at a certain platform, you can experience that, a certain level. So it's a very beautiful message. Alright? You all with me? Following, sir? So we'll chant verse 31. Swadharmamapi chavekshya navikampitumarhasi dharmyadi yuddha cheyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Swadharmamapi chavekshya navikampitumarhasi dharmyadi yuddha cheyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. The translation reads further, looking at thine own duty, you should not waver, for there is nothing higher for a Kshatriya than righteous war. Nothing higher for a Kshatriya, righteous war. You know the context. The context is Arjuna is to fight. He's just not fighting a battle. What is he trying to fight? Again, it's not just a fight with someone, but what is he trying to fight? What was that fight for? No, see, as a soldier, he fought many such battles. So the specific mention of something here differentiates from all the battles he had fought. So what is that? What is the uniqueness of this battle he fought? No doubt, yes. Then it was an emotional battle, no doubt. But what was he trying to do? Sorry? He was trying to re-establish dharma. It was not just another war. Is it? You all feel a little warm? Oh, mosquitoes. Maybe just one odd fan here. The very Gita starts with what? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha. So, what has happened? The Dharma kshetra had become Kurukshetra. So there was no peace. There was total anarchy. There was total unrighteousness. Adharma took over. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should not abandon looking at your own duty. You should not waver. He was not certain about his duty or his role. No problem. Mute பண்ணுங்க. திருப்பி ஃபோன் பண்ணுவாங்க. திருப்பி it will not disturb you and the class. So he has a, how many of us get a, he's saying you are very fortunate to have a righteous war. In fact, in the first chapter he says, if you lose the battle, you will get heaven. The fact that you are doing for a good cause, even if you lose the battle, you will get heaven. When you die in the battlefield, you will get punya. You will be transferred to a heavenly state. If you win the battle, you will get the kingdom. What are you worrying? Either way, you are being benefited. So Krishna is arguing with Arjuna to consider, because he wants to abandon his duty. And what an opportunity. Nothing better for a Kshatriya than a righteous war. Now, Kshatriya is one of the four caste systems, varnas, isn't it? What are the four caste systems? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras. Now these four caste systems, as it is perceived or believed today, it is not based by birth. Today, if I am born into a particular, even I could be born into a Brahmin family or a Vaishya or a Vaishya family, which is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I could be born into a Vaishya family, but I don't become a Vaishya or Brahmana by birth. What is it that makes you a Brahmana or a Shudra or a Kshatriya? Not by birth. Now, just an example for you to think. There are three characters in Ramayana. One is the eldest brother of Ravana was Vibhishana. Do you know his character? Very pious, very spiritual, very divine. Second brother was, who was the younger brother of middle? Who was Vibhishana, and then who were the three brothers? Ramayana tells us. Noah. Answer please. Are you? Vaishnavi? Only two. Okay, tell me the two. We'll fill in the rest. Who are the two people? Who are the two people? Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana. Okay. Sorry? The villain you don't know. Who is the villain of Ramayana? The three you know now. So there is the Vibhishana, there is Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Now what, if you look at these three personalities, completely divorced, completely contrasting, completely unique. Now do you know what these three symbolize? మీరు లాస్ట్ అన్నాను మీరు ముందుకు వచ్చేసేవారికి ఫస్ట్ అయిపోయారా? She has been my student for 20 over years and she answers, okay, benefit of doubt to others. Okay, it's still not late. Huh? What are the three gunas? And Sattvic nature. So Vibhishana symbolizes Sattva, Ravana symbolizes Rajas, Kumbhakarna symbolizes Tamas. So you can be of the same parentage yet have contrasting lifestyles, contrasting personalities, distinct natures. That's got nothing to do with parentage. So I can be born into a Brahmin family and yet have a mentality of a Vaishya. I can be born into a Shudra family and have the Sattvic nature of a Brahmana. This is important to understand. Now what is Sattva? Can anyone tell me what is your understanding of Sattva? Because we are talking about it, it helps. In fact, a Brahmana is a contemplative person. So whoever is contemplative is a Brahmana. And then you have an active person. An active person is Kshatriya. And then you have a person with a commercial mindset. He is a Vaishya. And then you have someone with a menial labor. He is a Shudra. So this classification of the Varnas are based on the gunas. So if a Sattvic nature is a more pronounced in a person, he is a Brahmana. When Rajas comes over and Sattva and Tamas, Sattva drops and Tamas comes and Rajas takes the predominance, you are a Kshatriya. You are very quickly ready to get into a fight or defend the country. So you are into that kind of mode. And when Sattva drops and Tamas takes over, you are a Vaishya. Hardly any Sattva and Tamas predominates, you are a Shudra. And every individual is a combination of all three gunas. There is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas in you. So Tanisha, if you have Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, let's say I also have Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, then what is the difference in both of us? Tanisha, what is the difference in both of us? Sir? It is the proportion. If you followed the argument, you'll understand. It's the proportion that makes you what you are. So, what is Sattva? How do you describe Sattva? Okay, let's start with Tamas. Then we'll go up the ladder. What is Tamas? Lethargy, indulgence, sorry, selfish, it would come another category. See, when you say selfish, isn't there a connotation to a particular action? And just now you said lethargy, inaction. So there is a more inclination towards indolence, sloth, lethargy, inaction. So tamas is an area where it's ignorance. Ignorance prevails. Inertia. An attitude to procrastinate. Postponing nature. Anything you are told, paakla, pannidla, choose them, देखेंगे, हाँ जरूर देखेंगे, definitely we'll see. When that will never happen. Laziness, or to keep pushing it to the future. Tamas can be said as not acting. Tamas can also be said as someone who doesn't change the course of action. Okay, you're doing something, I will continue to do the same thing. I will not do anything other than that. Why? What is not interest? Not wanting to take responsibility. But why does someone behave that way? Not wanting to change the course of action. To change, to bring about a change, you need to put in effort, which tamasic nature doesn't encourage him to or compel him to put that effort. So since he doesn't want to put that extra effort, he will remain the same way. So tamas can be said inaction. Tamas is not wanting to act anything else. So when you give a new idea, they are not very welcoming. They are very rigid. They don't want to learn something new. They're also tamas. So it has a very broad connotation. Best of us have tamas in us. It's for the best you can do is to identify your areas of tamas and work on it. Because you also have tamas, I also have tamas. So how does that tamas function is important to identify. What is the definition of law of inertia or law of motion? An object will continue to be in motion or at rest unless and until an external force is acted upon. So an object will not move unless somebody or something external acts on it, or an object will continue to be in a motion in a particular direction unless something is acted upon. A beautiful way. This is science I'm talking. So in an organization, you as a head of a department or head of organization, you know your staff, you know your members. When they are only going on in a particular direction without the ability to adapt to that changing dynamic scenario, that means tamas. But the moment somebody is able to adapt to that change and change the course of action, he is already beyond tamas, rajas or sattva. Because he has moved out of the platform of tamas, gone into rajas. So it will be very safe to say tamas is inaction. Now, and what is it, the people who are in tamas, what fruits do they reap? What is the benefit of tamas? Or what do the tamasic people find themselves? They are known outcome, means it's very predictable. Yeah. What am I trying to get is, a tamasic person finds himself very peaceful. He is very much at ease, at peace. because of it, and the peace is coming out of sloth. No attempt, no action, no effort, lazy life, no vision. There is nothing to drive him towards life. Everything is taken for granted. Somebody is providing. You know, it happened in a case. A well-wisher in anonymity was sending funds to a beneficiary, and actually the anonymous source was her own brother. He found her sister was in deep help because her husband passed away and she needed to raise the child, and the family was in tatters. So he wanted to help. So he anonymously made sure that the sister gets help. Didn't want to know. So told the secretary, make sure arrangement, the funds go to her. I wish the ringtone continued. But the best of things find itself out of place, wrong context. So the sister kept receiving the funds because the postman used to come and give that. She kept receiving. Never ever bothered to find out who is sending it. What is that? Attitude. Attitude, but it comes under in fact, when you say this, what is the most tamasic action one can perform? The worst tamasic act in terms of to earn something, to earn wealth. What could be the most tamasic way? So wealth by itself is not wrong. Like wealth is Lakshmi, it is worshipped. It is how you procure it. Tamasic people procure it, Rajasic people procure it, a Sattvic person also procures it through the different means, the path they adopt. So no satisfaction is yet. I'm saying how you methodology, how you adopt to get wealth. So tamasic person goes without effort. So what is that act? Can you give me a description? Sorry, ma? Beggars, you can say so. Cheating, gambling or lottery. Gambling is one of the most tamasic way of earning wealth. And I've had chances of visiting a casino because it was in one of the tourist locations in Malaysia, and whenever somebody came along to, so we used to go there. It's a beautiful cable drive up in Genting, one of the biggest casinos in Southeast Asia. So happened to take a few times over the years, and just to know what it is, just walk in and just see, education sake. And what startled me is the parents bring their kids, and kids are not allowed into the casinos. So the kids are right outside the casino waiting for the parents to finish their so-called chores, come back, and the kids are there in that environment. The parents could be gambling, but what's the kind of environment you're exposing your kids to? So what is the thought of a gambler? I want to earn as much without putting any effort. Least effort, the least effort is buy a lottery, become a millionaire overnight. A little bit, yeah. But the worst is lottery. But the thought is that which is very revulsive. To earn something without working for it, without striving for it, is very uncomforting. Or to even have something and not be grateful for it is the worst. As Shakespeare says, ingratitude stronger than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him. So what kills you is not your traitor, it is your own ingratitude. Ingratitude stronger than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him. Vanquished means destroyed him. It's his own ingratitude. In fact, every play of Shakespeare brings out this quality of ingratitude. Every play. Subtly he puts it. There's so much to take away. So tamas is inaction and peace. Now come to rajas. What is a state of rajas? Very bold. How would you describe that boldness? A sattvic person wouldn't take challenges for boldness. Why not? Oh, I know you're trying to convey something. Can you qualify that boldness further? Okay. Just a minute. So boldness means he is very daring, you mean? He takes a gamble. A calculated one or a risk? Risk. What draws him to take that risk? What drives him? What is that purpose? Because our sattvic fellow also has a purpose. So we are trying. You will find a necessity to differentiate here. A very a considerable difference, but we have to be very specific. I'm trying to get it from him because he has used terms. I'm just trying to understand in completeness. So what draws him? What draws him to take that risk or boldness? Sorry? Egoistically driven? Could we say there is a material gain or something selfish? He sees there something in it for himself. Power, there is that proprietorship, that ownership, or he's able to achieve something. Sorry? To rule, yeah, obviously. So there is that attitude of acquiring something, but he knows he needs to work, unlike the tamasic fellow. Tamasic fellow wants to enjoy. They are the consumers, they are the producers. So my forefathers have earned something and kept for me, I will sit and enjoy. That's the reason they say wealth doesn't last more than 3 generations. The forefathers or your great-grandfather grandfather has earned. This present generation is trying to maintain. By the time it comes to his generation, it's gone. Because isn't it a very age-old saying that wealth doesn't last more than 3 generations? So the 4th generation, they'll have to actually start from almost from scratch. I'm not saying again it's a thumb rule, but it's a saying. There are exceptions to this rule. It can't be a rule, but it's a belief system. So when someone is driven to action with an attitude to acquire something and he doesn't mind bending the rules to get what he wants. He doesn't mind. He compromises. He can lead himself to unethical, unscrupulous, uncompromising attitude just to get what he wants. He's a go-getter in his own way, but not the right path. Very, very manipulative. And what drives him is a selfish motive. It's all I and my. and there is no ethics or morality, there are no value systems, you will find the corporate world is rampant with this culture. It's like sharks. I can eat you up any time, just for my survival. So he is so-called very dynamic. Unlike a tamasic fellow, lazy. The way he carries himself is there's no energy. Even the way they walk, they'll drag their feet around. And lift your feet. Come on. You see these army guys training, the way they lift their legs. And energy. The way they walk around is an energy. Otherwise, they walk as if they're doing a favor to you. Yopa. You know, the first principle of Vedanta, the first principle of philosophy, the first principle of the scriptures is what? The answer was what Vivekananda told people who went up to learn Vedanta from him. Students went up to Vivekananda and said, please teach us Vedanta. You know what he said? He said, go play football first, then come back. Huh? What? You want us to play football? We have come with scriptural text, we got the text, we want you to clarify throw some wisdom at us, and you say, go play football? Nobody understood him. You know why? Why? Why would he say, go play football? Outstanding, no, brilliant. You know, why would he say go play football? Don't say because he was from Calcutta. Mohan Bagan maybe. Why? Why would he say go play football? Are we talking about physical fitness now here? They were tamasic. They are not adhikaris of the knowledge. So to shed your tamas and become rajas. In fact, knowledge is given to a sattvic person, and these fellows are tamasic people. So how to come from tamas to sattva? You can't bypass rajas. So they said, first come to rajas, then I'll give you direction to your action. To be inactive, how can I talk to you? You're in ICU cases. How can I give philosophy to you? To give knowledge at the deathbed. What Vedanta is useful for you fellows? Tamasic life. People read Gita after retirement. These values have to be injected right when you're in the smack of your life, or the best is to prepare you much before you enter the arena of life. Man, you have everything to handle what life is. You have that clear clarity, you have the rich value systems, you're able to manage yourself and steer not yourself. You become a beacon of light for others to follow. Wherever you are, whatever role you play, you become a standard. Including arranging the slippers. Got to be. Thinking becomes clear. The second row has not the same spacing as this side. It has been bothering me all the time. But chalta hai. I have to get over that little OCD. Chalta hai, chalo, I need to control that. So a person, when he becomes rajasic by nature, when he becomes that possessive, aggressive, when he is in that mode of acquisition enjoyment, I got all what I want and acquire, I want to enjoy all what I have acquired, it's all mine. That possessive attitude, that greed which drives the corporate industry or any businessman by nature, what is the consequences of that life? Inevitable, there is that agitation, there is that stress, there is that price you pay for the wrong attitude to work. Not the work. It is the wrong attitude you carry to work. You want to procure something at anybody's cost. That is the wrong attitude. That kills, that destroys. Huge organizations are collapsed. Countries are suffering because of the attitude of the leaders. So it could be an individual, it could be a nation. If it doesn't have this value system, it's gone. So Rajas can be said, who is constantly driven by desires, selfish desires. I have this, I don't have that. I've enjoyed this, I am yet to enjoy that. This is the attitude. It's all that drives it, all his life. Now come to Sattva. A few more minutes, I'm done. 6:45 kada? I got 7 more minutes. What is Sattva? Sorry? Righteousness, equanimous. So there is a sense of balance in his life. He doesn't get as emotional as the Rajasic. So he's very balanced, he's equanimous, driven by the welfare of others. So his actions take an unselfish tinge is there to the action. Whatever he does for the larger good of others, for the sangraha, for the well-being of the loka sangraha. Anything you do, if you think with an attitude, how does it benefit me, it is Rajas. If you do the same action with attitude, how can I be of any service to you, unselfish? So it is that attitude you carry to the work that makes you a sattvic or rajasic. Anything that you do, I could be doing this for a selfish purpose, or I could be doing this for a selfless cause. What makes the difference, what marks the difference is the attitude you carry. And if you have that attitude, you are unaffected by the fruits of action. A Rajasic person is constantly in turmoil because he is driven by, a Rajasic person is driven by results, result oriented. A Sattvic person finds contentment in his work. He is so contented with his doing his part. I've done my part. So what is the thing many people don't understand is, Sattvic action is as dynamic as a Rajasic action. A Sattvic man is very active, very productive, very industrious. He's a go-getter. He's driven by goals and ideals and purpose. He's very efficient. He is smart. He is skillful. He is dexterous. Dakshaha. In the 13th chapter, he says, on the 12th chapter and 13th chapter, the qualities of a devotee and a jnani. The Gita. He says he's a daksha. He's skillful. You give him clothes to fold after laundry. How does he fold the clothes? Dakshaha. How do you keep your house? Dakshaha. How do you keep your slippers? Dakshaha. How do you keep your desk? Everything you do is so skillful and so precise to a point of fault. I'm so conscious of it. I'm not saying an example, but I'm saying I'm so conscious of it. At my desk, there's a 0.5 and a 0.7 lead pencil. And always at times the 0.5 is on the left, the 0.7 is the right. And I know when somebody has touched anything on my desk, including a paper marker, I know it's always kept there. Blindfolded at pitch darkness, I go and pick it up. It is not an obsession. It is just to be dexterous. It is just everything has a place and everything should be in its place. And that ability to manage things in your life needs application. So sattvic action is an action with a dynamic pace, but with everlasting peace. And the classic example, 2 more minutes to go. Again, I'm not obsessed. I'm free to talk another few minutes if you allow me. But a classic example of two examples I'll give of a sattvic action is, imagine a Boeing aircraft, or any aircraft for that matter. It's flying at 35,000 feet. And what's the speed it travels at? Any idea, sir? 600-700 kilometers an hour. And do you feel a ripple in your wine glass? You're having a cup of tea or a wine. You don't feel a ripple. Solunga, almost finished Solunga. That is sattva for you all. Where there is dynamic action, yet you are at rest. Second example. Imagine a bullet train. It's just precision, it is efficiency to its best. The train is traveling at, what's the speed? 300 plus kilometers an hour? 350 kilometers an hour. The train is just zooming past. Again, you don't feel a ripple in a glass of water. There's not a ripple. So there is that efficiency and yet that balance and peace. Have you ever noticed a marathon runner running? Have you ever noticed? They run 42 kilometers. It's a full marathon. The closest I have gone is to a half marathon. I have never attempted a full marathon. But I know what it is to, a sportsman, especially a marathon runner, they just get into a zone. Once they get into the groove, is thereafter stamina. It is effortless gliding. They just go through the rhythm. Their breathing is under perfect control. They are not out of breath. Their muscles all just moving. It's a melody to the eyes. It's just beautiful to just watch them just do their act. So sattva in effect is action plus peace. Very rare, unknown of this quality anywhere in the world. Nobody knows sattva. Maximum people have come from rajas, from tamas to rajas. And when you are extremely agitated, what do they do? Let's take a break. Break from work, break from family, go for a holiday. They shift because they need the desperate. How long can you handle that agitation? It gets to you. So what? They just slip into tamas. Again, when the price they pay for tamas is no productivity, no wealth, no enjoyment, they come back to rajas. When you come to rajas, again what? Desires, cravings, greed, aspirations. Again you find yourself unfulfilled, dejected, disappointed, stressed. Go back to tamas. Hardly anybody crosses these two and comes to sattva and enjoy what life is. A sattvic life is where your body is in the law of dynamics. Your body is in the law of dynamics. Your mind is in the law of statics. This is pure Vedanta, practical Vedanta. We teach this in seminars. How to be able to conduct yourself with that efficiency and yet able to manage yourself so that it doesn't hurt you. Unheard of. These scriptures have got so much wealth. And it is these three gunas that determine what sort of a personality you are. In fact, the 14th chapter of the Gita, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, it talks about the distinction of the three gunas. He spells it out and mentions it there very clearly. Now I come back to this verse next week. I'll explain the little context of which he says of the righteous war. But what is more important is you understand how Kshatriya, what defines or what makes him is the gunas. And not necessarily every work you do has a cause, man. So he's telling him, you have a righteous cause. Get beyond your petty emotions. Rise and just do your part. So the message there is very apt and very interesting. We'll come to that next week. Okay? Thank you.